So why do we face economic collapse? We are consuming more than we produce. How can that be? Hasn't everything consumed already been produced by someone? No, because production must also include production of a surplus, to be paid as interest, dividends, or rent. Doesn't that only apply to consumption on credit? Yes, but most consumption today is based on credit. Even if the consumer pays cash, the producer has probably had to borrow or sell stock to finance the production. But why should production and consumption collapse if interest isn't paid? Because those who can produce won't produce as much if the most they can earn is the profit on a sale that is all cash. So what would happen if there were no more credit or investment, and we went to an all-cash economy? That is what actually happens in underdeveloped countries. The lack of credit or investment is why they are underdeveloped. So are we now going to have to do without credit and investment and become an underdeveloped country? Not completely, but after a runaway debt spiral, there may be no effective way to walk it back to a safe level. So is it possible to return to a safe level? Yes, in principle, but it would require more discipline on the part of almost everyone than even the most brutal dictatorship has ever been able to achieve, and planning that is far beyond human competence. Can't the credit market regulate itself? Yes, and it is actually doing that, except that national governments are interfering. So would the credit markets gracefully dial back the economy if governments didn't interfere? No, because the market after the runaway will regulate by wiping everyone out. The market does not necessarily regulate in a way that leaves any survivors. The North African desert is the result of a kind of market, the ecosystem, left to seek equilibrium. The invisible hand can reach out and crush everyone. You've got to be shitting me. No, shitting in your pants is what everyone is going to be doing when the big adjustment comes. At this point there seems no way to avoid it. Doesn't such talk become self-fulfilling? Yes, but if it encourages people to prepare to endure the collapse, perhaps we can salvage something more than we otherwise would. How do we need to prepare? Stock up a survival retreat somewhere? That won't work for very many people. Most of us need to steer the world away from warfare and tyranny, and toward minimal constitutional government and private charity to one another. We can revert to an all-cash economy, but not using fiat currencies. So can we return to a moderate level of debt and investment afterward? Is there a way to prevent a debt bubble like this one in the future? Perhaps, but how to do that is the subject of a future conversation.